huge overlay winners per se anymore in horses that are well found in the market. If what horses that 20 or 30 years ago might have been paying probably $3.50 to $4 range, they're going to be closer to even money these days. Yep. Your edge is going out of it because everyone has access to the same information, and really all said and done, your edge is sort of diminishing because so many people are. Well, I think there's too much racing these days as well, particularly because of the COVID. I mean, some race meetings, I don't know for the life of me how they can justify running some meetings, because you'll find on an 8-race program, 3 maidens, 3 class 1s, 1 open handicap over 12 or 1400 metres, and 1 open handicap over 1600 metres, and there's no great quality about it.
And between the carnivals, there never is any quality. And when you have to try and tip in races like that, and you've got benchmark 58s and 55s and 64s, class 1s, and 5 maiden races, in some meetings, you really are, you're up against it.
Look, what I generally do is, because I use a database, it makes things a hell of a lot easier. When I'm going through the form guide, I eliminate all of those lower grade races. I will probably, I will probably bet in a benchmark 55 or 58 or something like that, but only if there's horses in the races that have got well-established form patterns.
Yeah.
But anything below that, and your class 1s, maiden races, I just put the pen straight through them, because they're just almost impossible to try and predict with any great certainty where the winner is going to come from. And you might have, that's probably a good way of making money on Betfair, is by laying favourites in those races, because they'd have to have the poorest winning strike rates out of any of them, I've found over the years. But, I still work for a living. That's why I generally bet on the morning line as soon as I've done the scratchings, and then I'll just listen to the races during the course of the afternoon while I'm at work. But really, all said and done, your higher class races, there's not many of them to bet on of a day during the week, during your weekdays, which is probably a good thing rather than a bad thing. And mostly on the weekend is where your better class races are, and your Saturdays and your Sundays. Even Sundays have sort of picked up in their quality a little bit in recent times, but I still think that there's way too much proliferation of race meetings these days. And I think since the COVID has affected a lot of things as well, I honestly think that there's a lot of nothing races that are being put on, and horses are starting every week. The amount of horses that are starting within a 7 to 10 day period is astronomical. And one of my systems actually relies on horses that have started in the 7 to 10 day period. So it's quite often that is the system that takes the longest to figure out, because there's so many horses that are running every day that have run within the last 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
It's just in years gone by, a lot of trainers would probably not do that, but they're probably after money, while after the TAB money, just in case the racing industry gets shut down next week, because if they have one COVID breach, the whole industry will shut down.
Yeah, exactly. And what I find with it is hello, Johnny. Yeah, the horses must know that something's different. They must. When you go to a racetrack and there's 10,000 people, they know something's going on. But when they go there now, there's virtually no one there.
Well, there'll only be the strappers and the trainers and the jockeys virtually, and your media representatives.
Yep.
That's basically. Although I think they, owners are starting to come back on course now. But by the same token, I agree. The horses know when something is different, and I found that when I was calling the races out in Mount Isa, if there was not a huge crowd of people there, some horses, they just didn't seem to take a hell of a lot of interest. But if you had a big crowd of people there on a cup day or something like that, and you've got 400 or 500 people there all yelling out, bang, you'd see a different horse some days.
Oh, for sure. And some of them get overexcited, but there's not a lot of excitement with them these days, and when there's this much racing, it becomes quite difficult to in my eyes, to work out whether they're over racing them or they're not over racing them. I can do the ratings, but the ratings don't mean a lot if you don't have enough standard to work with. Cyril? You might be and it's like with what we should do is just talk about a couple of things as well. Because I've got a few questions that some of the guys have called in that they want to talk about. And you'll be able to answer this with me as well. Why do you reckon a lot of people don't use Betfair?
I'm actually going to still but I'm going to say as I end up.
Anybody getting interference from somewhere?
It's Cyril. Cyril, can you turn your telly or your radio down?
Really? You think it is?
How do you think our panel went? Tactics is saying for you, Bush Ranger will come out all guns blazing. That's happening next on the master.
I'll just send him a note.
Hey Tim, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can now, mate. Yeah, can hear you now.
Cool, mate. Bit late to the party, gents.
Yeah, you're all right, mate.
So, Paul, whereabouts are you, mate?
I'm in Newcastle, and you?
Yeah, mate, I'm in Brisbane, and I'm more rugged up than you, but I'm sitting outside.
Yeah, he's outside smoking. Get those things up, mate. And Peter's in lockdown in New Zealand, or not in Tauranga, but Auckland. They locked down again today.
I heard that. G'day, Pete. Oh yeah,
mate, how you going? I've lost my picture somewhere along the line. I've got the sound still, but
well, we can see you.
For some reason, I've lost the picture.
Okay, yeah. Just go down the bottom left-hand corner, Pete.
Yep.
And there should be a button there that says vision, or says stop video, or whatever. There's a red line through it.
Yeah. If there's a red line through it, that means you got to click it again to start sharing your video.
Yeah, that's right.
We can see you, Pete. So don't do anything with the wife that you think we can't see.
No, I'm here on my own, mate. It's not going to happen.
Yep. So
anyway, I'll try and join again, but I can hear the sound okay at the moment. I'll try and fiddle around.
All right, mate. We can see you quite well.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Oh, my God. Hey?
You're as clear as a day.
Is that right?
So, Paul, do you use Betfair?
I do, but I'm not a huge user of it. I probably should get into it a little bit more. I'm more of because I don't have the time to sort of sit there and study the changes in the market right up to the last minute. Apart from maybe a Saturday or a Sunday, it's something that I don't use heavily. Yeah. However, I do use it from time to time. If I think there's a bit of an edge there, I'll log on and I'll
Is
watch
there no sound on the TV?
Hey,
Generally,
I'll turn the volume down. I'm trying to listen to something here.
We can hear you quite
You want it
clearly.
up, do you?
Cyril, we can hear you clearly.
Hmm.
Yep. So, because the funny thing is, I use Betfair all the time. I don't use anything else. You know, Betfair. I consistently get 16% better odds, 16% better returns. You know, I mean, examples, those two outsiders. You know, I got 27s on installation and it paid 21s on the tote.
Yeah.
36s and it paid 23s.
Yeah.
To me, that's robbery.
Yeah, exactly.
And
right.
people say, "Oh, I can't get some of my horses matched." But if you put it up to be matched and it gets close to the start of the race, you only have to click on starting price, and your balance will go through at starting price.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the whole thing with using Betfair. And you'll never get banned from Betfair.
Yeah.
Because it's not actually Betfair you're betting with; it's with all the other pundits. And I'll look at a tote pool and it'll have 12,000 in it, and I'll look at Betfair and it'll have 250,000. So I know I've got to get better equity on my price than anywhere else.
Yeah. True.
And true, I understand where guys say, "Oh, I don't have time to use it," but they've got a pretty good app.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's improved a lot compared to what it used to be.
Yeah. And if you're using the app, or if you actually have a program, you can go to Asia and places like that and use it.
Yeah.
You can actually bet in the markets over there with it. You know, it doesn't pick it up. I mean, I know that because I've been there a few times with Michelle, and I've been able to do all my betting while I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, so the other things, Paul, what's your say on multis and parlays? What do you think?
Okay. If I identify four or five horses on a Saturday afternoon, my better option to play them is for a win Yankee, or a win Canadian, or something of that nature.
Yeah, that's the parlay line. Yeah.
So they're along the parlay, and my reasoning behind that is that for a lot of times, if I was just going a single multi on 4 or 5 horses or something like that, and you lose by one leg, then a lot of your hard work is down the drain. And if you're out playing, $20 or $30 or $50 on it or something like that, you're probably better off having the stake split over the amount of combinations that you have in that parlay bet, your Yankee or your Canadian, because if you hit, say, 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 or whatever, you're still going to get a half decent select.
Yes. Yeah. The reason I like parlays too is because if you're doing one meeting, you can put 2 or 3 horses from one leg to cover your bets, and the parlay work. You can't do that with multis. You can only do it. And with a multi, the only way I do multis is if I do 4 horses, I'll do the 2s, the 3s, and the 4. And if I've got a 4-horse multi, that way I know if 2 of them get placed, I'm going to get a return, and I also back them. With a parlay, I like how it'll take the first leg, the last leg, and all that sort of thing. It'll multi them all around. And if you have 2 in a leg, you can take the quinella as well. So you can cover your bets a lot better than the others. I don't know whether you can do multis and that in New Zealand, Peter.
Yeah, you can do both. You guys are talking a different language, of course, to what we have over here, as far as I'm concerned. But I like your comment about maiden races. They're paying the bloody back. The only time I back a maiden is something's in it's pretty short by a top trainer, say Tiley or Jamie Richards or somebody that's paying $2, and I'll try to anchor that to win, and then try and pick some reasonable ones to run second or third, you know, in a trifecta or something. But
yeah,
it's bloody hard to straight out bet. It's always something comes out of the bloody woodwork, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really been a fan of maiden races. You know, unless you've got sort of trial form on something that you think is a little bit better than the rest. The old days, I remember I used to get a lot of good value in them because you used to get the photo form, and a lot of people didn't really know about it. But these days, like you say, Paul, there's so much information that you've just got to get those, and that's why I use ratings. I'm looking for those races that they're trying to, they'll be spruiking a couple of horses, and there was one at Caulfield on Saturday. Oh, I can't remember the name of it anyway. It was a raging hot favourite, and the thing had never ever won 2 races in a row in its life. It had 40 starts. It won the start before, and I thought, you won't win today. You're the best lay out there. At $1.25, you're a good lay. I'll bet 3 or 4 others in the race. And I found the winner and laid the favourite. You know, and because the liability when you're doing it is so small.
There's a voice there.
You're virtually
I'm getting vibes of someone like an onion nested, like a.
Guys, I'm going to have to go. I've got some huge interference. Somebody's coming
I've got to be thinking of those voices.
Why, mate?
If you're interested, I've got a starter in race 6, which I've got a share in, called Kahit. I think it's number 2.
At where?
And playing teams and threes at the moment. It's his first start in New Zealand. It's run in France, but it's just come out here. It's his first start. Jamie trains it. And in race 7, number 9, Taupo Missy, but it hasn't been a jockey declared, so I think anyway, it's almost impossible to hear this Asian crowd coming over the top of you. And,
I don't know where that's coming from. Is that your place, Paul?
No, it's not coming from me.
I don't know where it's coming from.
You can hear it too, can you?
Yeah, we can hear bits of it.
It's not my place.
No, it's not here either.
I hope it's not here.
Johnny, just mute yours for a minute. Yep, it's Johnny's place. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Now it's gone.
Who's behind the mask?
No, it's not.
Mute it again, John. Yeah, it's John's house.
Yeah.
Your place.
That's right. It's gone now.
No, he just muted himself.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, John?
Yeah. What do you think of Melody's bell run last week?
Yeah, Tim, I can hear you.
Yeah, there's no background music, Mike. Yeah, you can hear me, but it's your place, John.
Yeah, all right, mate. Well, I'll get out of the combo then.
Oh, you're going to leave then?
Well, mate, I'm only interfering, so
That's all right.
I'll just restart.
If you can hear us, just leave it on mute.
Yeah.
Mute.
Just mute it, and you can just listen to us.
Yeah. That's
Hear us? Just shake your head. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's got it. Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about is that Paul was how I go about choosing what races I bet in and what I don't bet in, and I'm sure you'll agree with, because like I said, I'm not a 54 or 55 to 64 raters. I can't do those benchmark races because from the maiden to them, I just find it very difficult. You know, when a horse wins a maiden and goes into a benchmark 58, you know, I think their chances of winning their second start are very slim unless they have some sort of class about them. You know.
Well, you can also interesting thing about benchmark 58s and your 64s and things like that is you could have horses that haven't won a race for the last 6 months, but they might have won 6 or 8 or 10 races.
Yes.
So they obviously got a distinct class edge on their opposition.
Yeah, that's where you've got to have a lot of form, don't you? Because I have backed horses that I've rated really, really short in benchmark 58s that have actually won an open handicaps way out in the country, and they have that class difference, but it's getting them in that right race.
Yeah, and the thing about it is usually you have a compressed weight scale in a lot of those races during the week as well. So you'll say you'll probably have a top weight of around 62, 63 kilos, but your bottom weight might be weighted at 58 or 59. So there's not really a hell of a lot of spread in the weights between your top and your bottom weighted runners in the race. You know, at the end of the day, most of the systems that I use, I generally, as I said, I steer clear of the maidens and the class ones, and I generally try to focus on the class 3 and above, class 2s and class 3s and above. But if something shows up that's got pretty reasonable form in a benchmark 58 or a 64 or something around that calibre, I'll still give it consideration because they could have a good class edge on their opposition. Yeah. The only thing you've got to be wary of is if, say, for instance, a horse is going straight into one of those benchmark races and they've won a maiden at its last start or a class 1, you know, they're obviously going to find the going a little bit tougher because they could be up against horses that have won, you know, 6 or 8 or 10 races. Yes. But that's not to say that they don't have a winning chance. It's just that their trainer probably hasn't quite done their homework and placed them in the right race. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, I think you said before, there's somebody said, what do we think of the run of Melody Bell on the weekend? Look, honestly, I think the jury's out on that run. I think that from my own personal take on it, I was pretty confident that she would run well in that. I was a bit disappointed. I thought she was gone at the 700-metre mark, and she really didn't show any zest for racing at all. And whether or not it was just first up, heavy track, 1,200 metres, and she didn't have a great deal of interest in performing in those conditions, I guess the jury's still out. But, you know, she's a winner of 10 Group 1 races in New Zealand, but she's yet to win a Group 1 race in Australia. So I guess you have to draw a line through her form and say, well, she's still got a little bit to prove. She's been competitive down in Melbourne. I think she won a Group 2 or a Group 3 or something like that down there last spring. But, you know, I honestly believe she's still got a little bit to prove. I'm not saying she can't win the Everest or a decent class race like that, but she's certainly going to have to improve at least 5 to 6 lengths in the meantime to be remotely competitive. I think there's probably a few other horses coming through at the moment that I'd view as being far better better propositions than what she showed on the weekend.
And I think it's like anything that's fresh. They don't always perform fresh, and she's getting older. When horses start getting older, they sometimes do take a little bit of racing.
True.
I thought she finished on pretty well. Anybody had a look at the last 400 or 600 in that race? The times, how she did.
She's too good a horse to ride off on one run.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But as I said, the jury's still out, and I think she's got to certainly improve to be competitive. But you know, honestly think she can be competitive. But you know, heavy track, first up over 1,200 metres, a distance she hasn't won over for 2 years.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
I think that she probably just wasn't interested on the weekend, and you know, despite the urgings of McAvoy, who I rate as probably one of Sydney, probably the second best jockey in Sydney. J-Mac is probably the best jockey in Sydney at the moment. By far and away. You know, if he couldn't get anything out of her, he obviously didn't want to punish her. So I think that she's probably going to front up next time. If she gets onto a good track, I think you'll probably see a much better performance.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, good. Okay.
The other thing I got asked about too is bonus bets. Should you use bonus bets all the time?
Well, I mean, look, I try to when I'm punting is spread the risk around a few of the different organisations to at least get the bonus bet back if I can.
Yeah.
And if I go to use the bonus bet, if I do get bloused, I generally try to target races that my selections have showed up something around $2.50 to $3.
Yeah.
When you go to use it, because anything less than that, you're not really capitalising on it.
No.
And you know, if you're going to go for anything less than $2, you're obviously just throwing money away. But at least $2.50 to $3 and above, you're better off targeting those sort of races if you're going to use your bonus bets, I believe, because you're going to get some sort of value back for your money.
Yep. Yep. And I always say to guys, if you're going to go and use a bonus bet as a bet, I always say to them, find something of good value, 8 to 1, 10 to 1, something like that. Because the moment you win, they're going to take it back off you anyway.
That's right, yeah.
And then you've got to turn it over to be able to get your money, get your money out. So you might as well try and score with it. You know, I don't do any bonus bets at all.
Yeah.
Because I do everything, because I spread mine over 3 or 4 horses, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And that's because I've always been a Dutcher. You know, I'll typically take one and I'll back 3 others in a race, because I always know that if one gets in trouble, I know I've got something else running for me. And I've always done the same. I've never done it any other way. You know, I'm quite happy punting that way. You know, I can watch 3 or 4 in a race and know whether I'm going to be in the finish.
Yeah.
And it's all about getting the percentages. You know, like in the last race at Flemington on Saturday, I backed the winner in there, and I had the winner at $7.50, and it paid $22. You know, so I back it as a $7.50, not as a $22 horse, because I back it at my odds, not their odds. You know, at $7.50, you know, you have $14 on it to run for a return on 100, right? Because my standard is around $100 a race, so I think I outlaid $62 in the race, and because it paid $22 or $24, you know, I got back $4.80. So I got a good return for what not $4.80. I got back, what was it, I think it was $2.80 I got back. You know, so I made $180 overlay. And that's what I try and do. It's like, is it Just Orm one in Brisbane? Yeah, well, I had Just Orm at $3.30, and that paid $13.80. You know, so $3.30, you have 33 on it. That's not a bad return for the day. And what I find is I can bet in 6 races. I only need 2 results like that, and I'm always going to make a profit on the day. Like
That's right.
I backed the Brave, I backed that, and a horse that ran second in the race, you know. But I'm very selective. I look for those class races and those open handicap races, you know, and then I look, my top rated horses, I look to see whether there's value within that market, you know, and I'm looking for that upside down race, and I do that all the time. You know, if my ratings are the same as a bookmaker, I won't even touch the race. I wouldn't even consider it one for a minute. You know, I don't care if it's the best race on the card. Like I didn't tip in the shorts on Saturday because I thought the favourite who won the race, ex-Melbourne horse at Nash Road, you know, I thought it was the best horse in the race. I mean, I had it at $1.55. And it paid, I think it paid $3.50 or $3.80. I thought it was just an absolute steal.
If these days, if I don't see one of my system's horses in the race, I generally don't get interested in them. I'll watch the race. You know, at the end of the day, I do have my opinion on different horses and things like that. But I've found over the years that through the school of hard knocks, that if I'm using a plan or a system, if I try and bend the rules to manufacture a bet, something will go astray.
Yeah.
Because and it was because I tried to manipulate a bet just for the sake of having a bet. So I tend to be pretty strict and hard on myself these days, and I generally punt on races from 1,000 metres to 2,000 metres as well.
See, I'm like you. I very seldom will bet above 2,000 metres.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. Just for a minute, Paul. Pete, what was the name of your horse tomorrow?
Keith in race 6.
Oh, race 6. Okay, I'm just looking at my ratings.
Yeah.
Race 6.
It's an English import that it's having its first start. It's driven 10, but got to start somewhere. And it's won in France over 2,000, I think. And
yep, that's one a maiden over 2,100 on it.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it ran second in by 0.3 of a length in a 2,400 metre race.
Yeah, so it'd be too short tomorrow. And that's
starts.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't go wrong with the jockey on it with Opie's on it.
No. Well, that's the thing, because Jamie trained with among his hundreds of others. He trains it as well. So
Yep.
Yeah.
We're
sending over a really good one. I'm in the syndicate that owns Jennifer Eccles.
Yeah.
She's the filly of the year here. Hopefully she's going over shortly. So those big races over there, but I'm not sure how.
Whenever I rate all those races, Pete, because I do the New Zealand races for some guys.
Yeah, okay.
Over there, and I because my brother lives next door, and my uncle was a member of Ellerslie Racecourse.
Okay.
Whenever I go, I always go to the races with them, and that. But we were booked to go over this year, but at this stage we're not going near it. They won't let us in.
No, we can't get out either. So.
No.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to head off. It's nearly 11 o'clock. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
And good punting tomorrow. If you have a look at Taupo, there's a few maidens down there.
Did you put your number in? Because I'll give you a call during the week.
I'm not sure I did, but I can give it to you if you like.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, it's New Zealand, which I think is 64.
Okay. All right, Pete, go.
Okay, well, 027. I think you leave the 0 off, so it's 27.
Yep.
653.
653. Yep.
4836.
4836. So 027 653 4836.
Yep.
All right, mate. I'll give you a call anyway, Pete.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Good to see you guys. Nice to talk and carry on. Yep. Okay, mate. Cheers. Good night.
See you. Good night.
All right, mate. I'll call you anyway, and I'll get your email and send you a bit of info and stuff like that. You can.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah. Okay.
Whenever I see you a horse run. All right, Paul. So we might as well call it quits, eh?
Yeah, might be a good idea.
Yeah, but I had a few other guys that registered to come on, and I think some of them just get a bit lazy. But I'm considering changing it to a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Like about 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, which I think will suit a lot more guys.
Probably would, and you know. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And you might as well push what you're doing too on it. You know, make sure you tell the guys what you do.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, I had a bit of strife during the week with that woman trying to give me a hard time, and I just wanted to put it out there that there's these online scallywags, absolute moron type people that just all they want to do is cause havoc. But the following that I've got, a lot of people just said, "Hey, you handled that very well," you know.
Well, the whole thing is they never ever put their face out there. They never ever do what we do, you know. And everyone has an off day, you know. And I'm quite, put your money where your mouth is, mate. If you want to bag me, and if you think I'm the one doing something wrong, step up to the plate, stick your stuff up, and then we'll give you back exactly what you're giving out.
The whole premise too of hers using her superannuation for punting on horses, $90,000 for punting on horses, I just found staggering. Why would somebody do that? You know,
How much was she? Yeah, but how much was she betting? You said 2%.
I said to her, establish yourself a betting bank, what you feel comfortable with. It's got to be something reasonably significant to give yourself at least, you know, $10, $20, $50 stake on the race. So at 2%, if you've got $1,000 or $5,000 betting bank, you don't have to have that sort of money up front. You can just, out of your weekly wage, put 200 or 400 in, whatever you can afford.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you bet 2% of your assumed betting bank, whether that be, you know, $1,000, that'll be a $50 bet, you know, and start off like that.
See, I do. All of my betting banks are 1%. That's what I bet at. You know, so then I think you got a $10,000 betting bank, $100 a race is my takeout. So I think that's a good amount of money, because even to get the money, your money matched and that, you know, I normally will always get it matched on Betfair because I never bet in the lower line races.
Yeah.
Because I always look for the races that got pulled.
It's much easier to start off with a lower figure and work yourself up and build your confidence up than start off at a high figure and see your confidence get battered right from the word go, you know, because you could be coming in, if you're following somebody else's tips on the cusp of a bad run or the cusp of a good run. You just don't know that. And each individual bet is no better than its predecessor.
Yep.
You know, just because I've tipped 10 winners in a row doesn't necessarily mean that the 11th one is going to win, or the next 10 are going to win. You know, that you could find, you could go another. You could have a run of 10 or 15 or 20 losses in a row.
Yeah.
It's all comes down to statistics, and you've got to be prepared for that mentally, and you've got to be prepared for it financially. And it's much better to be betting to get a handle on things at a lower figure to start off with than a higher figure, because if you come in and betting on a system or somebody's selections and they're having a bad run, obviously and that's why she was coming in and abusing me, just because the horse lost on Monday, but she didn't say anything about the 3 winners that I tipped on Sunday at reasonable prices, and she didn't. I'd banned her, but she would have got more than that back today from the winner at Ballarat. You know, in the morning line it was $3.50, and the winner of race 5 at Ballarat today. It was a benchmark race. Yep. But it looked like a clear-cut winner for mine, and it stood out as far as my ratings go, and it won pretty nicely with the apprentice, 4 kilo apprentice on it, and that was a huge advantage for that runner today. But you know, people sort of only want to remember the bad things that happen. They certainly don't want to remember the good things. And you know, out of the 4 selections I gave out, 4 top selections I gave out on Sunday, 3 of them won and the other one finished second. So I wasn't too far off the money on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and mate, I've copped a lot of crap as well. What I do, you know, and I supply. You know, people pay me for my information, but I've got guys that have been with me for 3 years.
Yeah.
You know,
and but I do mine for free for the joy of it, and it's just something that I got into about. Well, when I was with Donald's, I wasn't getting paid for it or anything like that. But I don't post my selections there anymore.
No, nor do I.
I was copying. The ironic thing about it was, because I started off my own page, I was copying a bit of flack from the moderators at Donald's for doing that. But I've since found out about some of the punters clubs and things like that they're running on there. You know, how they manipulate things to take out money for themselves and all this sort of stuff.
Yep.
But I never saw any of that, so I don't know how true it is. So I just don't want to get involved with that anymore.
Yeah.
But they, you know, that was a platform to get me started probably 12 months or so ago. And some of the friends that I've got to know through there have crossed over onto my page, and I've got around 200 people on as followers on my page, and they're very happy with the selections that I give out every day.
Well, I've had my page going for 3 years now, and I hit 2,000 people today.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a pretty
well done, mate.
Yeah, and I'm quite happy to share what I do, and I've got the time because I do this every day. You know, I've got the time to do it, but I do get a few of the guys expect it. You know, they expect you to do it, and I'm quite open with everything I do. Guys will write to me and say, you know, oh, can you tell me what this horse is paying today for rating and things like that? You know, same as I've just sent. John, the guy that was just on. I just sent him my ratings for that race, for his race tomorrow.
Yeah.
I took a photo, sent it to him. His horse is 5-1 tomorrow. I mean, it's got good ratings. It's had 4 starts for 1 win and a placing in it. 4 starts out of France. So, and he's got a couple of good. Yeah, Jennifer Eccles is a pretty good horse.
Yeah.
His other one, she was in the carnival at Ellerslie over Christmas. You know, on New Year's Day and that, and she won a race that day. She's no.
Hey Tim, mate. What were the couple of horses he mentioned? Because I didn't hear him clearly because he was breaking up a bit.
One's called Jennifer Eccles.
Yeah, where's that running?
Over here, but I'll let you know when it comes. And the other one is Kafif, right? KHAFEEF. It's running tomorrow at Taupo. I rated it 5-1 at this stage before scratchings. You know, I don't have any of the scratchings at the moment. I'll just have a quick look and see if there are any.
What's it paying, mate, on Betfair?
No. Well, better off. This time of day, you're better off looking at what the tote's doing. I'll look on racing. I'll just tell you.
Cool.
You might be able to do. You might be able to do fixed odds.
Yep. So it's in race 6. 10-1.
10-1. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's first up from a spell, and Jamie Richards, who trains the Shark, and OP Bottom are riding.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's got the best trainer in New Zealand training it, or the one that's got the best class horses.
A decent jockey.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. He's not exactly a slouch, is he?
Nah.
Yeah. So it's well and true, and at this stage there's no scratchings in the race, and it's 360 the field. Right, and the favourite. That is the favourite at 360 at the moment with me is $13.
Oh.
Right, so it's not $13. That's 360 on the bookies, but my rating is at $13.
That's interesting too, mate.
Yeah. Kafif, you're saying?
Sorry?
On TAB fixed odds, it's $10.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
Yeah.
So hold on.
I think probably one of the best horses in New Zealand at the moment would be the Bostonian.
Oh, for sure.
I've had a few good wins on him, and I backed him when he won at that big race in Brisbane last year at 50-1.
There's a lot of first up horses tomorrow.
Yeah.
In that race he's got that his horse is in.
Not the guy running the stop.
Okay, Tim, well, I might call it a night as well.
All right, matey. All right.
Yep,
Cool. I might see you next week.
Yep.
We're going to do a lot more work on getting more guys on and making sure
Yep.
they stick. You know, because
Look,
I had 7 guys that were.
I shared your link around tonight, and it might have been a little bit too late for people to get on. So, if when next time you share it, I'll share it around a little bit.
I'll send it to you then, Paul.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Yeah, and and they saying, oh, one guy said to me, how do I get on? And I said, you've got to go through Zoom. Oh, okay. And so he'll probably join us next time, I'd say.
Yep. Well, you can keep the same link because it'll be the same link next week because it'll be the same Zoom link. So if he just clicks on it, just saves it, and just clicks on the link that's in I'll send you the email and that the link, and you just send that to them, and then they just click on the link in the package.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, guys.
Righto then.
All right then. I'll talk to you later, Paul.
Righto. Have a good one. See you, Tim.
See you, mate.
Yeah. See you later. Good to meet you. Who was it? Cyril? John. Okay. Okay.
All right. Ciao, mate.
See ya. Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Johnny, you're on mute. Whip your mute off.
Thanks again, Tim.
That's all right, mate. Anytime. I had quite a few guys that said they were going to come on, but they haven't come on. But you know, that's just the way it is. So I'm considering I'll work it out. I've asked a few guys Sunday afternoon to be better. You know, late Sunday afternoon, about 5 o'clock.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't bother me too much, mate. I do stuff at the bowls club on a Sunday afternoon. Sometimes playing bowls.
Yeah.
But
6 o'clock on a Sunday night or whatever.
Yeah,
what I'll do the Sunday, and I might keep doing the Tuesday as well.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, do the 2 nights.
Mate, it's up to you. It's your time.
Oh yeah, but the whole thing is, it takes time to build these sort of things. You know, what guys are like. I'm just having a look at this race tomorrow. I'm just trying to get it sorted. What price is that? I'm just doing a couple of little adjustments because and I'll give you the true price on what that horse should be.
It's Kafif.
Yeah. It's you've got to make sure sacrifice. What do you?
Mate, if I was sitting beside you now, I'd be totally blown away by what you're doing.
Well, mate, what I've got programs and everything here, which
I know.
You know, and a lot of guys don't understand what it takes to do. Like I spend hours doing this, and I like to, you know, like we had a horse in Perth. I think I rated it 12s on Saturday and paid $70.
Oh my God!
You know, and I get a lot of those. My highest paying winner this year, and I never had a bet in the race, but I rated the horse at $750 and it paid $493.
You're kidding me.
No, the best.
$493.
Yeah, mate, the best price winner that I've backed this year is $287.
Mate, at your rating is $750, I'd have backed it because it would have been paying for a reasonable place price.
Exactly. I think it paid 29s on the tote for the place, right? But paid 120 on the bookies, paid $493 on Betfair, and the closest horse to it in Betfair was 55 to 1.
Oh, crikey.
It was the rank outsider race. Man. Because I will not have a bet in a race without a rating.
Mate, I'll just give you my quick story on Betfair. I signed up for them, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And because I thought, this sounds interesting to me. And I immediately, or almost immediately, I put $50 in there just to have a go and see what they do.
Yep.
That $50 never ended up in my account. My account's still live. I've been back in there. I was back in there recently because you keep saying go Betfair.
Yep.
That money came out of my bank account and never ended up in Betfair. So I don't know where the fuck it went, man. But
so did you ever apply to the bank to find out where it went?
I think I did both the bank and Betfair and never really got any resolution and probably gave up. It was $50, you know, and it was taking time, and I had already used $50 of my time, mate. So it was like, well, move on.
Yeah. So that horse tomorrow, the final rating's 450.
450, and you can get it at about 10.
Yeah. So the way it works on that, all right. So based on $100, and that's on an 80% market, right? So
yeah. Okay.
And here I'll just change it very quickly. I'll change it to because I do 90% for me, but I do 80% for other guys. Calculate. I'll close it. So that's $3.75 now at 90% market.
Wow.
Now, if you were taking $100 to bet on the race, you would have $21.30 on it to make 100. All right.
Okay.
If you had $21.30 on it, you're going to make yourself $220. So you're going to make yourself a $120 overlay.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, above what you're trying to earn. And that's only backing the one horse. That market there is to back anything that's overs in the race.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm getting you, mate.
That's how I do it. And that's what I want to try and teach some of these guys to understand why you need to use ratings. You know, it's even like when you go down the pub with your mates, you should always look at that 100 screen. Look at the 100, the 99, 98. If you see a race...
Even on the TAB, even on just the normal, your local TAB, look at their ratings.
Yes. And if a race is... that you've got the 100 rater and the lowest rated horse in the race is, say, 97 or 94, don't even have a bet in the race, because statistically, you want to be betting the outsiders in the race, because statistically, there's only 2 lengths between first and last.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But if you see a race and you've got a 100 rater and a 99, the next one's 85, you know those two have got class above the field. So only look at those two.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Right, so that's a simple way of looking at it.
Yeah, and that's a good lesson, mate. Thank you.
For sure, because sometimes you'll sit there and you'll see a 100 rater and it'll be the top weight, and it's paying $25. And you'll look at it and go, wow. It's classes above that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and I will normally go and look at some form when I see that. If I see a 100 rater paying $25, I'll go and have a look at its form and say, what the hell have you done to rate 100? Yeah, because that and be paying $25.
Normally they've got the highest win rate. They've won the classiest races. You know, they've got the highest average price money.
Yeah.
And the old saying, yeah, if in doubt, back the top weight. Yeah. Anyway, Johnny, I will call it a night.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I want to have a discussion with her another time. I've bought into some systems, and some of them have been reasonable, but they take so much fucking working out, and that's one of the things the punters don't see. So you're doing a system which you sell to people, and as long as I've done systems where it's been like, sign up to this system, pay $3 a week for a year, and we'll send you the tips. We'll send you the tips. You're offering a whole lot more. It costs more, but you're offering more because you'll do it every day. You'll tell me or anyone.
Well, see, I do 36 on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just an accelerator, you get 36 races average, and then then you go and have a look at what you get with the pro form, and you get 6 meetings, 4 horses a race, every horse rated with the money movers and everything, and then you get 8 of the 8 races that I think you've got the chance at the end of the day to make a good profit.
Yeah, mate. I'll be on accelerator this week, providing I don't have to play bowls.
All right, that's all right, mate. There's no rush. You just.
No, I'll be there, mate. I want to be there sooner rather than later.
All right, mate. Okay, well, you just let me know when you're doing it. All right,
Yep.
send me a message.
Yep.
Yep. My phone number, haven't you?
Yeah, mate. Yep.
All right, send me a message and I'll give you a call.
Take care, mate.
All right, mate. Same to you. Bye-bye.
See ya.